assume for just a second that you've got a teenage daughter. Parents have a natural tendency to worry about their kids. You worry about their safety, you worry about their well-being, you worry about their health. Hell, you worry about everything. It's your job as a parent to do so. When you think of places where your daughter's going to be safe, places that you trust to look after her when you're not around, what places come to your mind? I mean, to be honest with you, there aren't very many. There used to be, but there's not anymore. But in the past, one of the safer places for kids to be was at the YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association. When most people hear of a place like that, they naturally assume it's safe, or as the deacons at Woke United Methodist would call it, a safe space. But like I've said many times before, there is no such thing as a safe space. Not in 2023 anyway, and especially not at the modern YMCA. Unfortunately, the YMCA has been diagnosed with the woke fungus. This entire week, I have been following the story of Abigail Wheeler. I initially heard about this story on Monday. I have been waiting and waiting and waiting for the YMCA in Springfield, Illinois to make this right. With the story of Abigail Wheeler receiving national publicity, with normal people expressing their legitimate outrage over what happened, I was hoping that the YMCA would come to their senses, or at minimum, fold to the pressure and correct the situation. Instead, the exact opposite is happening. Management at this YMCA in Springfield, Illinois, they are taking a stand. The problem is, they're on the wrong side. Abigail Wheeler is a 16-year-old swimmer from Springfield, Illinois. Now, this should go without saying, but with all the gender benders out there, confirming someone's gender has become extremely difficult without the assistance of a certified biologist from Woke U. But Abigail Wheeler, she is what biologists like to call a biological female. Abby's on the swim team at her local YMCA. Back in April, she's practicing with her team at the Y. Perhaps they were practicing their form, maybe working on their dives. Hopefully, though, they were not practicing the breaststroke in a public setting. With all the shit fucks infiltrating public spaces, it is no longer advisable to practice your breaststroke in public. But Abby, she finishes up with practice, heads over to the locker room. As a 16-year-old who is young and naive when it comes to modern rules and standards in locker rooms, Abby enters with an expectation that she will be able to change her clothes comfortably. In the girls' locker room, Abby expects that she will be changing clothes in front of other females. Which, to be fair, according to the Department of Gender Benders at Woke U, Abby was sharing this locker room with other females. But according to Abby Wheeler, she was sharing this locker room with biological dudes. She told Outkick that when she entered the locker room, there was a dude wearing a bathing suit designed for women sitting there changing clothes, or watching her change clothes, I should say. Perhaps he took advantage of the Pride Month sale at Target and was able to purchase a tuck-friendly bathing suit half off. Now, for us normal people, half off means 50% off the sticker price, but for the others, it means he only purchased the bottom portion of the swimsuit. Several days later, Abigail finishes up swim practice, enters the locker room again. Who's there waiting on her? Tuck. There he is again, modeling his tuck-friendly bathing suit. But this time, he invited a couple of his friends to join the party. Here we have a 16-year-old girl walking into the girls' locker room, surrounded by 3 grown biological men. Obviously, Abigail Wheeler was mortified with the situation. She runs out of the locker room to go find her coach, a man named Alex Totora. My inside sources tell me he prefers to be called Coach Tudor. Young Abigail explains to her coach that there are 3 dudes in the girls' locker room. Now, as a parent, how would you expect your daughter's coach to respond to this situation? My expectation would be the coach goes into the locker room and permanently bans these dudes from the facility. The entire facility, not just the locker room. Now, how does Coach Tudor respond? He looks young Abigail in the face and says, "There ain't nothing I can do about it." What? There's nothing you can do about it? I guess at this point, it would be safer for Abby to change clothes in her car? Or maybe she can find a nice utility closet where only the rats will be watching her change clothes. To her credit, Abigail Wheeler refused to put up with this bullshit. She got with one of her teammates, and they made 3 signs to hang on the door of the girls' locker room. One sign read, "Biological females only." Oh, my sweet Abby. So naive. She just doesn't know that these 3 biological men, they are choosing to identify as biological females. According to the woke commandments, this makes them women. The second sign read, "Women deserve to be safe." I'm sure those birthing persons weren't threatening the safety of Abby Wheeler. No! They were simply occupying space in the locker room with their minds on record, storing plenty of material for passionate pleasure sessions. The final sign read, "Men are not welcome here." That is a serious problem. Matter of fact, this is a dual violation of the woke commandments. For starters, this is reverse misogyny. You are not allowed to discriminate against birthing persons on the basis of gender identification. Young Abby, she's also in violation of the more serious crime of misgendering. Misgendering, very, very serious. At 16 years old, Abigail could be tried as an adult. She could be sent to woke prison where she could end up sharing a cell with one of Tuck's friends. Since her doofus coach refused to handle the situation, Abigail took it upon herself to hang these signs outside the girls' locker room. Obviously, this is going to capture the attention of administrators at the YMCA. They're going to step in and solve the problem, right? Well, they damn sure solved the problem. Watch for yourself.
And the next day at practice, again, I know you already said we were both told that they were considered hate speech and disrespectful, and that the Y would follow up with our families, and that it probably was not appropriate for us to practice that evening.
And now you're off the swim team?
Yep. Later, they sent emails to my family and phone calls stating that I am currently banned from the Y until I have a meeting with the staff.
Let me just give you a brief summary here. Abigail Wheeler complains about dongs and thongs inside the girls' locker room. She complains to the useless coach tutor whose only purpose in life is supplying the whoopee cushion on the view with fresh toxic air. She gets the attention of management at the YMCA by standing up for herself and her teammates and placing signs outside the girls' locker room that she borrowed from her treehouse. No boys allowed. Instead of the YMCA defending the rights of the child, they defend the identifiers. Not according to the YMCA, though. No! Abigail Wheeler, she wasn't kicked off the swim team. She chose to leave of her own volition. We did not ban her from the team. We simply told her she could not be on the team if she didn't accept the rights of the men pretending to be women. Coach Tudor and YMCA officials, they claimed that the signs made by Abigail Wheeler were disrespectful and considered hate speech. Oh, well, I understand now. So, it's not disrespectful for biological men to pitch their tents in the girls' locker room and camp out, but it is disrespectful when young women are uncomfortable with it. What does it say about some of the adults in this country when we've got teenagers, children, kids, teaching adults the difference between right and wrong? According to Abby Wheeler's father, there are several transgender people who are members of this YMCA. None of them cause any problems. They lift their weights or do their Pilates, whatever the fuck, and they go about their business. They go about their daily routine. The only person causing a problem here is the one that hasn't even transitioned, supposedly, and is simply choosing to identify. Abigail Wheeler was banned from the facility until she agreed to meet with officials at the YMCA. Now, Mr. Wheeler, her father, he received a voicemail saying, "There was an incident that happened with your daughter. We need to have a meeting." There was not an incident that happened with his daughter. There was an incident that happened to his daughter. Big difference. Mr. Wheeler was told Abby was not allowed back into the facility until this meeting took place. Now, he told YMCA officials that he was bringing a representative from Safe Sport to the meeting. Now, for those that aren't familiar, Safe Sport, it is a nonprofit organization that's committed to keeping athletes protected against abuse and misconduct. For example, Safe Sport fights against biological men who believe they have the right to call the girls' locker room their domicile. Now, this should be no problem, right? Think of the Safe Sport representative as a lawyer. If you or your child was criminally charged, the police, they're not going to argue with you when you request to bring a lawyer. Mr. Wheeler received a follow-up email from Jill Steiner, who works in human resources at the YMCA. Jill Steiner was pissed. How dare you have the audacity to bring outside representation to this meeting? This meeting was organized so we could intimidate you and make you bend to our demands. No outside representation is allowed. As a result, the Wheeler family refused to meet with officials at the YMCA. And you know what? Good for them. They followed the golden rule here on the channel. I know it's been a while since I've had to recite the golden rule, but you never, ever, 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 ever apologize, appease, or meet with the shit fucks. Never. Nothing good will come from it. The Wheeler family did the right thing by taking their story to the media because now they've got the support of the public. There is no defense the YMCA can come up with that will justify their actions. The YMCA, they are trying to hide behind Illinois state law. The law states that birthing persons are allowed to use the restroom of the gender they choose to identify with. I'm not a lawyer. I am not qualified to analyze the law in Illinois. According to several mainstream media outlets, the law in Illinois, it's vague, it's open to interpretation. A skilled lawyer would be much better advising the Wheeler family going forward, much better than I would be, but if you want my advice, get the fuck out of Illinois. Move. This is one of many reasons there is a mass exodus going on right now in woke cities and states across America. You are not going to change their minds. Best thing to do is move to a city or a state with normal people. This is not the first time the Wheeler family has had to deal with this issue. Their older daughter, she was forced to compete against Leah Thomas, the same Leah Thomas who had the advantage of the motorized propeller. Now, if this situation with Abby Wheeler, if this happened 5 years ago, these people would be in prison. There would be no questions asked. Officials at the YMCA, they would call the cops and they would have hauled their ass to jail. Today, we're calling the cops on the child. What else is left to say about it? Just, I don't know. Give me your thoughts. I'm not even going to ask you a question today. This is just, it's wrong. It's pathetic. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, you guys know the drill. I might be back later today. We'll see how the day goes, but if not, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.